Here's what happened in those two parts of the world. Puerto Rico, as you know, is part of the United States. Greece is not. Over the last 40, 50 years, politicians in Greece and in Puerto Rico entered into a wonderful, a really wonderful relationship with banks. Here's how it worked. We are politicians. Our people can't stand us for good reasons. So we have to do things for our business community and for the public, but we don't want to tax them to get the money to do that, because then they'll be angry at us for taxing them, and that'll overwhelm whatever we do with it, especially given how much of it we typically steal. So here's what we would like. We would like to get a lot of money lent to us to do the things that'll make us politically popular. The bank said, oh, we're the right place to come to. That's what we have, money. We'll give you a loan. You got to give us a nice fee for finding us, and you have to give us nice interest, but we'll give you the money because we can make a fortune out of lending it to you, and you can do whatever political game you want with the money, and you'll become popular and you'll get reelected, and it's wonderful. And it was 30, 40, 50 years of wonderful. The only little problem was that the loans kept rising. Puerto Rico is little, poorest part of the United States. $72 billion they owe. The Greeks owe much more than that. So now, finally, they've accumulated an amount of debt which they can't pay. Meanwhile, gone are the politicians who raked it all out, who took it for themselves, who went on to other jobs, or died, or went into another line of business. They're gone. The bankers have gone. What's left is the debt. And the debt is a problem for the people of Puerto Rico in one case, and the people of Greece in the other. So the authorities in both places are confronted with, oh my God, what are we going to do? They can't possibly pay. For Puerto Rico to pay off the debt of $72 billion would immediately plunge that society into a level that would make the American Depression of the 1930s look like good times. Let me read to you the comment of Joseph Stiglitz, Nobel Prize-winning economist, some of you have heard of. He said, the board, by the way, Puerto Rico is now governed not by Puerto Rico and not by elected officials in Puerto Rico. There is a board created by the United States Congress, that means the Republican Party with the complicity of the Democrats, have a control board that is actually making all the decisions superimposed on top of. The real power is in Congress, not in elected officials in Puerto Rico. If the plans of that board are followed, cutbacks of service, raising of taxes, quote, will turn the island's recession into a depression of a magnitude seldom seen around the world. The board wants the Puerto Rican government to cut $7.6 billion in government spending over the next 2 fiscal years, including $1 billion in health care services, $300 million from the public university, and $350 million from aid to cities. These cuts would mean that the island's gross national product will plunge 16% over the next year and a half. Over the last decade, 100,000 Puerto Ricans, because they've been in trouble for about 10 years, have left Puerto Rico and come here. We are busily pushing Mexicans out as we busily bring Puerto Ricans in. Puerto Ricans are citizens of the United States. They don't have the border traverse problem, but it gives you another dimension on the dementia of our labor policies and our immigration policies. The island's unemployment rate at 12.4% is currently twice as high as the U.S. average. It's unspeakable what's being done to that population, dispersing its people, destroying its economy in the name of paying off a debt that the vast majority of Puerto Ricans knew little about, benefited very marginally from, but it was a great holiday while this capitalist economic system did this. And it didn't just do it in Puerto Rico. It's exactly the same issue in Greece. The leading politicians entered into arrangements with big banks. By the way, which banks? The same banks that were doing it in Puerto Rico. Goldman Sachs, Citibank, the same ones, same plan, wonderful loans, lots of money, big politicians able to do all kinds of things, and now you're stuck. Greeks are leaving Greece the way they last did in the 19th century, moving elsewhere in the world to find work. Unemployment rate among young people in Greece below 30 years of age is 50%. 50%. That's why they're leaving. What's to stay? A system that does this even though at this point it's only being done on this savage level to small corners. But think of it as experiments for leaders. It's an experiment for America. Can you do that in Puerto Rico? And if you can, where else might you do it? You know, the state in this country whose finances are so messed up that it's close to Puerto Rico, not quite? Illinois. No minor state in this country. A big one. It has that city you heard of, Chicago, in it. You know, it's big. Maybe there's a test here. Maybe the same Republican control board applied to Puerto Rico will be extended in its authority and cover other areas.